Real-time strategy gamers rejoice, for I bring word of Global Conflagration's new playtest, available this weekend only and on Steam. Please join us in testing the newest additions to gameplay and the 3 playable factions in skirmish against AI and multiplayer of up to 8 players in PvP. I have showcased this game before on my channel, but the developers have been hard at work and I have fresh footage which includes their new content. The first thing you will notice is the new user interface with the available buildings and units in the center bottom of the screen, while the map is on the right. Resources and income are also in the middle, as well as support points for using measures, basically commander abilities like artillery bombardment and the likes. The second important addition is power and power generation buildings, which is why that was the first building constructed. You do get some units at the start of the battle, like infantry and an unarmed scout for example, and you have to use them to capture points on the map, which will generate additional resources for you. But your HQ will also trickle in a constant stream. New buildings can only be constructed in the green zone expanded by previously constructed buildings, and as you can notice, there are no construction units. One more thing the game doesn't have is limits on unit production. Basically the only limit is your PC's ability to run and not blow up under the strain. Another important addition are veterancy upgrades for units which survive for long enough in combat and deal lots of damage to enemy units. The chevrons are quite easy to notice, so it shouldn't be hard to keep such units alive for even longer. I'm not going to go into the details of the changes to the units that come with those veterancy upgrades, as they will be subject to change before the final version. Some units have special abilities, which you can choose to use from the bottom UI section where you select them. This is a 1v1 match right now between the Vanguard PMC and EDU faction. European Defensive Union, or EDU for short, is your modern-day NATO military force, and Vanguard is the heavy metal private military type of a faction using Soviet weapons and bad English accents included. The last faction is called Carpathia, a paramilitary guerrilla movement which has a mix of new and scavenged tech from many countries. To boost the income from capture points, the Vanguard player deploys a transport helicopter unit which drops expansions onto them. All factions have some type of a unit which can build these, and there are multiple types of these expansions. The bonus feature of the Vanguard helicopter is that it can pick up and drop off units without landing, so you can quickly move some units onto the opponent's side of the map and take away his capture points to rob him of his income. This is where the asymmetrical factions really shine and produce new interesting gameplay situations and matches. Global Conflagration is made on the system of unit counters, so it is natural to see an infantry unit quickly damaged or even destroyed by a vehicle with a machine gun, while tanks will suffer greatly from infantry with guided missiles or rockets, or jets or helicopters with such weapons, which themselves will drop from the sky once targeted by fast-firing AA vehicles or heat-seeking missiles. The gameplay you're watching was recorded by one of the developers, and most of them are long-time RTS players, so let me assure you, this game is being made by the gamers who live and breathe such games. This might be a passion project, but as someone who has followed its development for years now, I must say it is one in which I have the most confidence that it will be an excellent game to play, both technically and mechanically. The single-player campaign is also going to be part of the content on release, so this game is a full package deal. As for types of units, beyond the infantry and vehicles, there are also attack helicopters and zeppelins, which you can control directly, as well as combat airplanes which come off the map as you call them in for a strike and can control for a limited time until they go off map again to rearm and refuel. It is a system some might not like, but which does make sure air power isn't overpowered and takes over the game. Bombers of the Edu faction are similar to some extent and carry comparable payloads they can deliver against enemy armor and buildings. They are also called off-map and have to reload and refuel before being called in again. All aircraft of this type depend on their home control tower, and if you lose it, you lose all the aircraft you paid for in it. A new feature for infantry is its ability to dig in, becoming immobile but more resistant to damage as well as gaining extra weapons. Recoil-less rifles for Edu infantry, 2 Eagle Eye anti-air launchers for Carpathia infantry, and Vanguard entrenched infantry gets a machine gun. This dugout gives infantry much more survivability against vehicles, but it also leaves them as sitting ducks for artillery or air power. One of the first measures or commander powers you unlock is the repair drop, and once you have enough support points, it becomes available on the left side UI for use on your vehicles. The drop itself has a very limited range, in which it will repair vehicles for a short period of time. A favorite tactic from the previous playtests has been to let the opposing player use the measure and drop a repair power, and then you drop an artillery strike on that same location, making the player move his units and lose the repair time, or stay put and hope some vehicle doesn't blow up while it is being repaired. You can see here that the Vanguard player is using combined arms while taking up, meaning all types of units are viable during the whole match. Infantry, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters and jets. And this was one of the main design ideas by developers to make sure the game doesn't become a spam fest of tanks or jets, but a balancing act of counters and anti-counters between all the players in a match. For me personally, this is a big plus, and I love playing such games. You can tell me in the comments which game and their unit spams drove you crazy in the past. Another ability that the infantry has is placing mines. These of course have a cooldown period, so you would need more than a few to place a big minefield fast. But if the enemy player lets you walk up to his vehicles and place one, fireworks. And friendly fire too, so prepare for sacrifice. I do have to mention that the ability of infantry to garrison buildings is still in development and you won't have it in this playtest. The AA vehicles can deliver a lot of damage to enemy air units fast, and you can now see one targeting the Vanguard transport helicopter and also blow up a jet very quickly. Despite its speed, it might as well be made of paper when it meets its counter on the battlefield. The jet itself does very high damage to vehicles and infantry with its bombs, but these are dumb, drop and pray kind of bombs, meaning hitting a moving enemy is very difficult and you are better off targeting enemies which are stationary. If you look carefully, you can notice the jet using afterburners after dropping bombs, meaning it is slow on its attack run, but after that it flies off much faster, trying to survive the enemy AA fire. There are 2 tech upgrades in Global Conflagration, and they open up both new construction options for your faction and new units to recruit. The best ones are at the end of the tech tree, and each faction has its most powerful unit. Vanguard will get thermobaric weapons, Edu a stealth tank, and Carpathia a huge toxic tank. With these advanced techs unlocks also comes new measures to spend support points on, like an artillery strike or spy satellite view. There is also a powerful cruise missile strike that is very damaging to buildings and units. This is why you have to be on the move with your units or risk them getting damaged or obliterated in one hit. Range of sight also differs on units, so not taking any scouts with your main attack force reduces your range of attack. Another reason to keep low tier units in your army throughout the battle. Link to the playtest is in the description as well as the game's Discord server. Here is another similar RTS game as a card on the screen. Thank you for watching and happy gaming.